prevent that, but typing it out ahead of time helps make that even less of a possibility.
All right, here we go. I'm Jacob Van Lunen. I'm here with Gavin Verhey, and we are about to watch the finals of the Legacy Open here in Louisville, Kentucky. This is Chris Kronenberger, armed with a mono blue control deck, fighting against Samuel Swisher, who's armed with old school Team America. Both these guys are poised to win the Star City Games Legacy Open, and this is exciting. These are two decks we weren't expecting to see this deep in the tournament, and I love seeing new decks.
Yeah, same. I mean, Team America, it's a just an older version of Team America, so it's not.
Yeah,
like,
but I mean, I think it's really well positioned.
It's pretty well positioned. But of course, the deck that's
Tombstalker's so good.
I like Tombstalker a lot. I like some of the cards Sam Swisher's playing a lot. I think Daze is probably caught a lot of people off guard. Of course, they know each other's deck lists now.
Is really good.
Spellpierce is good. But of course, the deck we've been talking about for the last several rounds is Chris Kronenberger's mono blue deck.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's been impressed by it. People on Twitter just want to see it, and people on Twitter never want to see the mono blue control deck play. So it's just mono blue. You just chain up. You play counters at every opportunity. You have energy field. You can back to basics your opponents. You just have basic islands and fetch lands. And so far, Chris Kronenberger has defeated 2 Team America decks in the top 8. Will he take down the third? Let's find out. We're probably gonna have to keep our voices down for this.
So Chris misses line drop. He had to discard an energy field there. We're gonna see what Sam has this turn. That's pretty big for Chris as a control deck. You really don't want to be missing those land drops. We'll have to see what Sam has here. Like a land on the top of Chris's library could just spell the end of the game for Sam, though. Chris has a back to basics in his hand, so we'll have to see what happens. Now Sam may go for a Jace here. He played his 4th land. That seems to be... Or is that it's a him. And Chris is going to go ahead and spell snare that. And Chris is going to go ahead and spell pierce. Now, Sam's spell pierce. We're going to see whether or not that resolves. No, Chris is going to force that, and he's going to pitch an energy field. All right, now a land on the top of Chris's library is lights for Sam at this point. So let's see what happens.
All right, Forest pitches something can't quite see.
And Chris is just going to force right back. Yep. And they're both down to very few cards. That him is definitely going to resolve. And let's see, is this a land? No, it's not a land. Okay. It's a Jace coming down?
1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, Jace. That's a Jace. And this is not looking good for Chris Kronenberger.
No, he missed that land drop too many turns in a row.
Yeah, and he does have that back to basics. That would be awesome if he could land it, but... actually, if he draws a land here and lands it back to basics, that might actually be okay.
Yeah, because he can just V-click and kill the Jace the next turn, right?
Right, he can find a way to beat that Jace. Now, if Sam has a counter magic for that back, is it a land? Oh, that was not a land.
Yeah.
It had to be a land right there.
It really did.
Now Sam can just brainstorm, leave mana up, and...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bad news for Chris Kronenberger.
Yeah, and with those hymns, that should be it.
Oh, that's him. Him for Chris Kronenberger.
Yeah.
On Chris Kronenberger, rather. Whew. Gotta roll some dice. See which cards they get. Take down.
Come on, baby.
Trying to get 1 through 3. Those two. Get Medallion Click and chase the Mind Sculptor. Brutal for Chris Kronenberger. Only 2 lands, down to 2 cards in hand. Opponent has an active Jace.
A little late on that island.
Yeah, he needed that island 1 turn earlier. If only he had shuffled slightly differently. But, I mean, he's going to try and lay back the basics this turn, but shutting off 2 Underground Seas is not nearly as good as shutting off 4 lands like it was last turn.
Yeah. And I mean, had he drawn it a turn earlier, he would have just absolutely won. There wouldn't have been a Jace on the table or anything. So he had gotten that 3rd land a little bit earlier. Would have been huge.
It's like he removed Spell Snare. Alright, and there's Back to Basics, which will lock down those 2 Underground Seas if it resolves, which it looks like Sam Swisher's probably going to brainstorm in response, trying to make sure that doesn't happen. Now, this is actually kind of good for Chris Kronenberger, because if he doesn't find a blue card, it just
tapping another land. He's stone running himself in.
Yeah. Now, if he does find a forest, like, he just has no chance.
Yeah, then.
But we're going to find out.
Sam is looking at his graveyard, counting some things. And we're going to have to see what happens here. He's going to try to find a force. Hit that Back to Basics.
And Sam Swisher does not have any non-basic lands to fetch up.
Yeah,
Common theme of the Team America decks. So he's going to brainstorm. Draw 1, 2, 3 cards. Let's see what he finds. Land, Tombstalker, Tarmogoyf. Cast some threats.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, is he can still play a threat and get it stuck on the table. Then Chris has got 17 points of life to draw his way out of the board state.
I mean, you got to find Echoing Truth or something. And he can't even Jace bounce because Sam Swisher has a Jace on the battlefield already.
Yeah, so he needs to play his own Jace to kill the Jace, and then can have Sam not find a force for this Jace brainstorm on his turn. It's pretty tough.
Let's see.
Just plays a land. And
alright, he's like, alright, take a look at what this does. You should know. I mean, my opponent didn't read my cards. I haven't done a very good job of that today. So.
And Back to Basics is it's one that people know.
You hope when it's locked down your lens, people know what it does. But earlier today, we thought his opponent knew what Energy Field did for sure, and he didn't. So,
that's true.
So there's Tombstalker. Going to exile several cards from Sam Swisher's graveyard and put a 5/5 into play for Chris Kronenberger to try and deal with. And he's being very careful to make sure that his Tarmogoyf still stays the right size.
Well, no, his Tarmogoyf's kind of becoming smaller.
Small price to pay for that Tombstalker. And he brainstorms. Goodness gracious.
Yeah. You know, Chris draws a land here and trades Jaces. He's actually not in that bad of a spot. Like he is.
No, but didn't his hand is so good right now. He needs a land like crazy.
If he draws a land, he's fine though. Basically, he can just play his Jace. He needs to draw basically his 2 turns to draw the land, and he has to draw before Sam can find a force.
I mean, that Back to Basics is unbelievable right now.
Yeah. I mean, right now, it's always unbelievable. It's like
in your heart. All right, now he's gonna brainstorm again with that Jace. Unless he wants to Fate Seal Chris to try to keep him off the 4th land.
Yeah. Oh, does he have a Daze in his hand? Oh, he is trying to keep him off the 4th land.
That's bad. That's bad for Chris Kronenberger.
Yeah. Yeah, he does have a Daze in hand, so.
Talking Shackles? Not really good enough. Alright, sure.
It's dazed, and that's
actually really good because it lets him reset his land.
Reset the land, yeah.
Another many of the useful talents of Daze. Resets the land, so now puts it on dead next turn by playing a Tarmogoyf this turn. So Chris has to find a land. So Sam's gonna go Fate Seal Chris, and he has to ship the card, and then Chris has to draw a land. There's Tarmogoyf. No, even then it doesn't matter, right? Because he just plays Jace and they trade.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he plays Soar, he just bounces the Soar. It doesn't matter. He just leaves it there.
He just loses it.
But there was a small window.
Yep.
But that's that.
Yeah, that's it.
And Chris Kronenberger's going to go down a game.
Good game, and packs it up.
Despite that Back to Basics shutting down Sam Swisher pretty nicely, the Tombstalker was able to get the job done. Ooh, exciting stuff.
Yeah.
So Sam Swisher off to a 1-game lead, but we'll see what happens.
Ooh, and we're about to give away a whole year of premium.
That is
a year is a long time.
I mean, who knows who's going to be writing in a year from now? Like,
yeah, I don't even know.
All kinds of crazy people that are.
Maybe it's Chris Kronenberger.
Maybe Chris Kronenberger is going to be sitting on Star City Games. Maybe he is the next big thing.
You never know. Oh man, I'm excited.
I'm pretty excited.
I mean, a whole year? That's like a fourth of a presidential term. All right. Well.
So the way this, or do you want to explain? I was just going to say the way this works is on Twitter, put in hashtag SCG Premium, and tell us the answer to a question, and we'll randomly choose one of the correct answers. That person will win 12 months of free premium.
Okay. Well, there was I'm sorry. There was a. Wow. I'm just like drawing a complete blank.
Let JVL. All right, queue up your Twitter accounts. Put in hashtag SCG Premium. I'll let JVL refine the question he was looking for.
I guess it doesn't matter who he asks. So, yesterday, who won, or this morning, who won the Star City Games Standard Open?
That's a good question.
Who was the champion of the Standard Open here in the Star City Games Standard Open Series, Louisville?
Yeah, we're about to crown another champion here in a second. Tell us on Twitter, hashtag SCG Premium, who the second champion, or who the first champion is that's going to be in addition to one of the 2 second champions. Let us know, and you can win a whole year of free premium. That is a lot of premium. All kinds of great articles by great players, or in many cases, great videos by great players.
Yeah, the videos are a great new thing. It's an addition to the Magic community that really allows players to step up their game. When you actually watch pros play the games, you can start seeing the plays, and it's a lot better than just having them explain it, because when somebody's explaining something, a lot of the time they take shortcuts and they assume that you know everything they know, and as a result you may miss some stuff. But when you actually get to watch them play, it's pretty huge.
Yeah, I mean, you can learn from just the smallest things they do too. Sometimes you're like, oh well, I understand all this overarching strategy, and 95% of the plays make sense, and they just do one tiny thing. They like tap their land in a different way than normal. You're like, that's genius. I would have never thought to do that. And it's those tiny, small margin plays that can really make a big difference over time. I mean, I remember when I was watching, a big revelation for me, I was watching Michael Jacob play Naya in some of his videos, and unfortunately, I found out the other day that I keep talking about these videos and coverage, but when there's a server switch, the videos don't exist anymore. It's really unfortunate. These are like my favorite Naya videos, so you can't actually go watch them. But it's just how Michael Jacob was playing his Naya deck, and he just did things with all of his cards. Like every time he would draw a card to calculate, all right, I have this much damage available to me, I have this much damage now, I'm going to be able to deal this much damage over turns, and he's just able to crank out the exact 20 points he needed. And sometimes it was in a blowout, and what he did wouldn't have mattered. Any player could have won that situation. But in many cases, it was by 2-3 points, and or even exact points, and it's because he thought ahead and figured out how much damage exactly every card would do. And maybe some players do that, but when you're playing beatdown, I think a lot of players just don't do those kind of calculations every turn, and that really helps make you a better beatdown player. Keep in mind, Michael Jacob was someone who won nationals with mono red, so he knows what he's talking about when it comes to doing the correct amount of damage.
Yeah, he knows how to beat, and he also top 8 nationals one year playing Lenor Elves and Blanchwood Armors.
Yes, the mono green aggro deck.
That deck was good.
Another deck that needs.
You should just suit up trolls.
Groundbreaker, right? Groundbreaker, you. Good times. Wow. Yeah, Michael Jacob, although he's been renowned for a lot of his control strategies, he played, for example, the top 8 of Pro Tour Amsterdam. He played the Teachings deck. He also is just a very good beatdown player, too. Just a very good all-around tactical player, I feel. Very good technical player, very good at just a mental player, strong mental game, too. So, I mean, Michael Jacob, another writer for Star City Games. If you get premium, you can go read all Michael Jacob's articles.
Yeah. And he's somebody who's been grinding at the pro level for years now.
Yeah. MJ knows what he's doing. There's a lot of good players in the Michigan area. Patrick Chapin used to be there, and a lot of, and now Michael Jacob still lives there. A lot of great players still live there, and they kind of grew up through that circuit. Ari Lax lives in that area, and they work together, and they built some really great decks. I'm excited to see what those guys come up with for Pro Tour Nagoya coming up here in just a couple weeks.
Should be exciting.
All right, so they're off to the races. Chris Kronenberger takes his opening 7. Is he going to keep it? He's looking at it diligently, staring at his 7 cards. Can I keep this? Can I keep this?
I don't see any lands there. Maybe
He keeps.
he goes ahead and keeps.
Island go. Sam Swisher.
All right. Let's see what Sam figures out this turn.
And there's Underground Sea. There's an island for Chris Kronenberger. And Polluted Delta from Sam Swisher there. And I wonder if we're going to see a play from Swisher here. So, yep, he cracks the Polluted Delta. And we might see a 2-drop out of him. Let's see.
So, I mean, we're probably going to see a 2-drop. His deck is... I mean, he is not as chock full of 2-drops as the other Team America lists we've been seeing, but, you know, he still has hymns and glyphs.
And for those wondering, we can't really talk about what's in the players' hands. They're not too far away, and there's almost nobody left in the room, so we're being very quiet and don't want to give away any information in such an important match. But you can see what's going on in the hands, so you can maybe kind of infer what's going on based on what we're saying. There, Chris Kronenberger plays an island. Sam Swisher picks up a new card for his turn, drops another land, Polluted Delta, another fetch land. And good old Tarma Squire might get in there. Nope, gonna do a Brainstorm first. Good call.
Yep.
Adds instant to the graveyard. Makes it a Grizzly.
Play a nice pump
Glyph.
spell for that Glyph there.
I think we should stop calling Glyphs by their power and toughness. Just give them like creature names, like Squire Glyph, Grizzly Glyph, Giant Glyph.
Lawan Glyph.
Lawan Glyph.
That's what this one is now. There's a Lawan Glyph.
Fair enough.
Cyst Bearer Glyph.
Cyst Bear Glyph. Cyst Glyph. Another Brainstorm from Samuel Swisher, so he has double Brainstorm this turn. The Ice Age theme deck Brainstorm. Or Cold Snap theme deck Brainstorm. With the new card frame.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, a lot of people don't have those just because they only came in the Cold Snap theme deck. Same thing with the Swords of Plowshares. They came in the Cold Snap theme decks. Had some Ice Age and Alliances cards in there. So Sam Swisher puts 2 cards back.
And he's going to bash for 2.
And once again, 2 points now, 4 points later, 6 points later on. You never know what's going to happen. So Chris drops Medallion Click. Now,
Pretty
that
good.
could block and trade with the Tarmogoyf.
Yeah.
This is still during combat, right?
Yeah.
So it shows Croson Grip, Pernicious Steed, Jace, Tombstalker, Underground Sea.
Yeah, he's going to go ahead and I think he's going to nab the Jace, maybe.
And the Jace is super important. And the Tombstalker is certainly a problem too, but Jace just seems to be the most important card in this matchup consistently.
Yeah.
Yep, and he takes it.
Yeah.
Writes down the rest of the cards in his hand. Important habit everyone should get into if you don't
Yep.
do it already.
It's really helpful to know all the cards in your opponent's hand. Allows you to
Like-
play around a lot more stuff.
There've been a couple times where like I just haven't. I was like, oh, I'll just remember these, and at some point I'm like, oh, which was that last card? And every time, and you know, you should just always write it down. You know, it'd be like an F number or whatever. I'm like, I don't really want to write it down. So it seems to be some dispute about when Medallion Click entered the battlefield, or what's happening here. So Medallion Click. So Chris Kronenberger cast Medallion Click after Tarmogoyf attacked, and it seemed to me like he was casting it. He did let a split second go by, but it seemed like me like he was casting it in the middle of the combat step.
That's also how it seemed to me.
Let's see if Tarmogoyf gets blocked. Oh no! I must have not been after the combat step,
Oh, okay.
or not been in the combat step rather. 4 lands, and here we go, Jesu.
It's pretty good.
Very nice. Yeah, that Jace. Bounce Tarmogoyf, set you back there. Serving for 3 with Medallion Click. That gives Chris Kronenberger the advantage he's going for.
And it's a pretty huge advantage.
Jace, you indeed. Now
Ooh.
Sam Swisher could play. I think he's got enough for a Tombstalker, maybe.
He does, but if he delves away all that stuff in his graveyard, and then plays plays a Tombstalker, he's not going to be able to replay the Tombstalker, and he's going to have shrunk his Tarmogoyf. So
it's funny interaction. It's a little bit of anti-synergy, but I mean the cards are just so powerful that you still do it. A lot of the newer lists have cut Tombstalker in favor of the card on Chris's side,
V-click, yep.
But not this guy. He's still dazing people and snuff at people. Snuff at people is a card we have not seen much of in Team America at all lately, and it used to be a big staple.
And think about how many free spells Sam has. He has Daze, he has Snuff Out, he has Mental Misstep, he has Force.
Yeah, I should play around this.
He makes things really difficult for his opponent. It becomes really hard to play around cards when he's got a whole swath of spells he can play, even when he doesn't have any cards, when he doesn't have any lands untapped.
Plays Tarmogoyf, passes back. Chris untaps 4 lands and an active Jace. Serves in for 3 with Vidalian. Oh, or not. Ooh, Echoing Truth back to basics. Alright, well, there's a Sower. He's going to try and steal away that Tarmogoyf. Alright, so he steals the Goyf. Serves in for 3. Now he's going to Brainstorm. Now, Sam Swisher has a removal spell for the Sower. This is a completely big blowout, but I guess he's got Forces to deal with it.
Yeah, he has Force in hand, so...
Yeah.
That's...
If he has double removal spell, something like that.
Yeah, and if Sam taps all his mana for that Tombstalker the next turn, Chris is just going to drop it back to basics and bounce the Tombstalker and just crush him.
Yeah.
So...
There's a Wasteland from Sam Swisher. But not the card you're looking for at this point in the game when you're facing down your own Tarmogoyf, a Sower, and a Vidalian Click plus an active Jace.
Alright, so Sam goes ahead and plays a Pernicious Deed. This is interesting because if the deed gets countered, then the Goyf gets bigger. It turns into same clock. Doesn't really make a difference.
Deed is a pretty awesome card for Sam Swisher to have in this situation.
Yeah. I mean, it does not answer the Jace, though, which is the big problem here.
Right. Yep, Pernicious Deed in the time before Planeswalkers and does not say Planeswalker on it.
Yep.
Does not say non-land permanent.
Artifacts, creatures, and enchantments. They fixed that and started writing non-land on cards, but Pernicious Deed actually saw a lot of play alongside Garruk when it was first printed and extended, because Garruk was so powerful. He was the most powerful Planeswalker.
Well, it also turned out to be important too against Affinity, right? Because if it says non-lands, you don't blow up all of Affinity's artifact lands. But since it says artifacts, creatures, and lands, or artifacts, creatures, and enchantments,
it's actually one of the cards that's kind of kept Affinity in check over the years.
Yep.
Is Deed. It's a card that people play that doesn't have to be like a dedicated card for Affinity, that just happens to be extraordinary against them and very strong in many other places.
Especially now when everyone's running low-cost cards like Signal Pest.
Yeah.
Anyway, in the meantime, Chris Kronenberger untaps. Goes to Brainstorm again. He's got pretty much free reign over the entire board.
Yeah.
Ships 2 cards back from the Jace Brainstorm. And he's going to crack it for how much this turn? 3, 4, 5. And is that Tarmogoyf a 5 now?
There's no creature. I think there's enchantment, instant. I don't even think there's sorcery. I think there's just enchantment, instant land. It's a 3.
Yep, looks like a 3.
Yep. So that's 3, yep.
Yep, so 3.
So 8. That'll put Sam down to 4.
Yep. That'll put him at lethal next turn. I don't know how Sam's going to get himself out of this jam, but he'll look to his hand for answers. Of course, Chris might have a play this turn. Nope, chooses not to do anything. Just passes.
All right.
I think it's likely we're going to see the third game starting here in just a second. Yep, he backs it in. All right, going to a game 3. Whew. This is
on to game 3 here, yeah.
Going to game 3. Chris Kronenberger already defeated 2 decks, very much like Samuel Swisher's, 2 Team America decks. Sam Swisher's is a little different. features snuff outs and dazes, but
Daze is actually very strong against Chris too. Like Chris really wants to be tapping out on key
Right.
turns for cards like Back to Basics or cards like Jace. Like those are his big cards in this matchup. So Daze is really powerful.
yeah, I mean, because when you go turn 3 Vendilion Click, for example, and you see your opponent's hand, normally they'll have like a Force or whatever you can take, and you can land a Jace next turn. But if they have Daze, you can't play the Jace on the next turn.
Yeah.
Because they'll just daze you back. So if they have Force and Jace or Force and Daze, that doesn't work, and sometimes you don't really want to take the Daze.
Yeah, the extra redundancy of counterspells definitely makes Sam's list a little bit better against Chris's list than the other two America decks that Chris had to fight against. However, I think Chris's deck is most definitely the real deal. So I'm interested. We didn't see any hymns post-board from Sam.
Yeah, I wonder if he took them out.
Yeah.
I wonder if maybe he saw the writing on the wall. Was like, hey, I heard something from the other 2 matches. You probably let's not leave those hymns in. But he did leave the Tarmogoyfs in though. That's something AJ said he would have taken out. AJ took out 2 Tarmogoyfs and said he would have taken out all 4 if he could.
Well, the big issue too is that Sam, on the other hand, Sam doesn't have confidence in his deck. So if Sam takes out his Tarmogoyfs, he just doesn't have a way to win.
Right, it's only
his only way to win is Tombstalkers.
And Tombstalker is still very vulnerable to Soar. So.
Yeah, and it's Tombstalker is really, really vulnerable to Jace.
Yeah.
Like if you get a Tombstalker bounced, it's kind of hard to replay it.
Yeah. So I think you probably have to leave your Goyfs in. I agree that's a major difference that AJ had. AJ also had Thrun, which changes things up entirely. Because,
oh wow, yeah, AJ's list might have actually been.
Yeah, I mean the Thruns are. He didn't draw one in Game 3 when he needed it against Chris. He had one in Game 2, but it didn't matter. He easily won that game. Played a Thrun, it wasn't relevant, but in Game 3 he boarded them in and he didn't see any of them, and because he has Thrun is why he can take out Tarmogoyf. But this is a much different situation.
Yeah, and I mean, Thrun is a card that Chris' deck has a huge issue with.
It's interesting because Jerry Thompson last week played a deck, a mono blue deck that was more or less mono blue, add a little bit of white, but it was more or less very vulnerable with the Thrun. And then this week he changed up his deck so he could beat Thrun. And I think we'll see the same thing with Chris's deck. How it's bad against Thrun right now. I think people are going to start realizing Thrun is a really good card against these 2 decks, and Chris's deck is going to have to evolve to make sure it's got a good answer against Thrun. Can you think of any off the top of your head that you would want to use in mono blue?
It's gonna be good, like Wall, right?
Wall of Tangle Court is a thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of it's Legacy, so we've got to have more options than that,
then
right?
Wall of Tangle Court is a pretty sweet wall.
I don't know. Phyrexian Metamorph kills it.
That's true. Let's get a second top.
I don't know. Like Energy Field's a good answer to that card, but you don't want Energy Field against Team America decks. I mean, it's interesting. Like people are gonna have to side out their Goyfs if they want to side in Thrun against Chris, because Chris can just take a Goyf and then you can't attack with your Thrun because the Goyfs are bigger than the Thruns.
Right.
So it's kind of an interesting dance. Like I don't know how many Thruns you can really have.
I think 3 is. I think if you want to beat these decks, 3 is probably the right number. But once again, if you're playing a good player like Jerry, they're gonna have ways to beat that, like they did today.
And the other unfortunate part though is that what other deck besides like this mono blue deck and Jerry and Drew's mono blue deck from last week would you ever want to side Thrun in against?
Counterbalance, maybe. I mean, they have Tarmogoyf, but
yeah, they have Goyf. They just trump you. I don't know. Like, I think the only card I want Thrun against is Chris, and like I can't see anybody playing this deck. This deck is horrifying. Like when you look at the list, like you would never want to pick this thing. I want to pick it up, but most people would be like,
too.
all right, never mind. I guess a lot of people might play it.
Maybe Thrun is okay against the black-white decks. It's not great. Like they have Gatekeeper, but it might be passable. 4 mana is just so much mana, though. You could cast Jace for that much mana.
Yeah, you cast Jace or Elspeth.
Yeah.
And Elspeth's probably better against Chris anyway, if it resolves.
Let's see. So Sam Swisher is looking over a hand. Chris Kronenberger is looking over his hand. Very soon, if they'll keep, we'll see what they're battling with. They both keep. They're off to the races. Winner of this wins the tournament. Is the Star City Games Louisville champion. Let's see.
All right.
Mental misstep on Brainstorm. That's the way to do it. That's the opening people want so much. cracks Polluted Delta, or plays Polluted Delta rather.
Yeah, if Chris has
And
a
then cracks it.
spell snare in his hand, then he can.
Spell Snare is pretty good at hitting Tarmogoyfs, Hymn to Turax, even I don't know, Go for the Throats if those are still in. All kinds of targets for that.
All right.
Tarmogoyf comes down.
Plays Goyf.
2/3 Goyf, so Despair Goyf.
I like that. We can start.
All right, down comes Misty Rainforest, and Chris content just to pass as usual. Now Sam got that Goyf down early. That's not what Chris wants to happen. He really wants to counter those early Goyfs.
Yeah, he kind of wants to keep the board clear because he has these cards that are just like really strong in those types of situations.
He cracks Misty Rainforest and finds a tropical island. Oh, what do you think we're going to see from Sam Swisher here?
I mean, if he's going like main phase, I guess he's. Oh, is he? What could he be playing around? I guess he's probably going to play Phyrexian Revoker. Oh yeah, he did. Okay.
Revoker. Oh, do we know what he named on Revoker?
I don't think it resolved yet. I think Chris popped a fetch land.
Oh, brainstorming in response to the fetch land, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there we go. All right. So he gets an island. What would you name if it resolved?
If it resolved, I would name probably Jace. Maybe Shackles. Oh, Shackles. Shackles seems way better to name.
I mean, I think it's got to be Jace, unless Sam is Jace of his own and is just trying to out-tempo people. But, I mean, like, Jace is just such a brutalization in this matchup. We'll see if it resolves. But Chris is cracking fetch on in response, meaning does not seem likely. Would not be surprised to see a counter spell here on that Phyrexian Revoker, which will put an artifact into the graveyard too, making Tarmogoyf a 3-power creature. Let's see. 2.
All right, and there's a counter spell, and it's going to make Tarmogoyf into a Urnham Djinn. Artifact and creature.
Artifact and creature, yeah. Urnham Djinn Goyf.
Yeah.
And I guess at 5/6 it's also a Djinn Goyf because it's Maha Modi, right?
I like it.
A little too ambiguous. All right, so Chris draws. Oh my god.
Back to basics. Does he have a land?
If he has a land. Oh, he does. That's too bad for Chris Kronenberger. He does not have a land. Sam Swisher obviously very happy to see that. This is the second game in this match where he doesn't play a third land.
Yeah.
Chris Kronenberger is not very happy about that right now. He started his hand for a while and eventually kept and did not have the third land.
Yeah. All right, so he's cracking in for another 4. He's going to drop Chris down to 9 here. And,
yeah. Quick clock.
Very quick clock.
There comes
Go
Tombstalker.
ahead and try to play Tombstalker.
So that's lethal next turn.
Now, Chris is almost certainly going to force this.
Yeah. You absolutely have to.
Yeah.
And now Chris
now
has
end of turn Echoing Truth on that Goyf, and he can just, if he rips a land, he wins. Right?
Yeah, this is it. He's got to do it right here. This is it.
Yeah.
Echoing Truth on Tarmogoyf.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see if he finds land. Is it there? He drew it really fast.
He drew it. Yep.
There it is.
Oof.
Back to basics. Locks Sam Swisher down. Chris Kronenberg was looking like he was in a bit tough spot, but back to basics once again, bailing him out of a rough situation. Draws another land there. For 3, there's Shackles.
Yeah. And suddenly, it's not that bad.
And now, okay, so he plays 2 for Tarmogoyf. I was going to say if he has Crossing Grip, he can build up to Crossing Grip, but nope.
Creature, it's still a 4/5? 4? Yeah, so Shackles can steal it.
Wow, he just gave his opponent a Tarmogoyf.
Yeah.
How generous of him. And there's another land, just in case it did bump up 1, and steals the Goyf.
Yep.
Oh. In just a matter of a minute, things have gone from looking great for Samuel Swisher to absolutely downhill. Back to
and that's what
basics.
Back to Basics does. Like that's what people are always like, oh well, doesn't Cross and Grip just beat you? It's like no, you don't understand.
All the lands are dead.
When you Armageddon your opponent, it becomes very hard for them to get the 3 lands again.
Oh my. And it's great too because Wasteland, you can't Wasteland Chris Kronenberger's mana base.
Oh yeah.
So it really helps defend against one of the most popular cards in the format. So Chris cracks a Verdant Catacombs here, plays Brainstorm, draws 3. Man, Sam Swisher's really trying to fight back in this game. What is I'm trying to think from Sam's perspective. What is it trying to draw?
He could draw a Snuff Out to deal with that Goyf right now.
To deal with the Goyf. He still has that in the deck. Goyf serves in, chops away at Sam Swisher's life total.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like if Sam doesn't play that Goyf on that turn, like I understand that he kind of just gave his opponent a Goyf, but in reality, there's very, very little that he could.
I mean, he can build up the Cross and Grip, and he has to draw the Grip, but
yeah, he has to draw the Grip and get all the.
But I mean, Kronenberger might not be doing a lot in the meantime. I mean, he still hasn't really done that much. You can't counter Cross and Grip, and now that Tarmogoyf is just going to
that'll drop him down
deal
to
all the
5.
damage,
and
split a Delta.
He'll go to 1. And then I'll draw, and
that's it. Congratulations,
Chris Kronenberger.
Chris Kronenberger,
our Star City Games Legacy Open Series Louisville champion, Chris Kronenberger.
Congratulations, Chris. We had him in here. We had him in here in round
That's awesome.
7, and he needed a win. Oh,
Yeah, I got to interview him before, and you know,
Wait,
it's
hold on.
pretty awesome.
Hold on a sec.